Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The honorable person, our lecturer, Madam Arini, Nurul, Hidayati, S.Pd, M.Pd, and all my beloved presenters and participants. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you today? I hope you always in the good conditions. First of all, let's thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Because of His blessing, we are able to come here joining this meeting. Salawat and salam always be given to our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who has guided us from the darkness into the light. I'd like to thank everyone who's joining us from across the major of Siliwangi University and across the university. And welcome to today's webinar series EDSA 2020 with the theme Conveying Message Through Text, Knowledge, and Art. Hi, my name's Rika Awaliyah, and I'll be hosting today's session. I'm so grateful to be your lead in this webinar series EDSA 2020, held by English Department Student Association, English Education Department, Siliwangi University. The theme Conveying Message Through Text, Knowledge, and Art is taken because we will discuss academic side, very useful in terms of making papers, essays, thesis, and also for later doing research. And in the other side, its art side, we can express our feelings through writing. Well, today I'll present you the outstanding presenters. They are, first, named Ginanjar Masyhur, with his topic, Straighten Up the Winding Road of Academic Writing. He has been EDSA member since 2019 as public relations staff and in 2020 as vice leader of EDSA. Second, named Lia Apriliani, with her topic, Improving Our Writing Skill. Third, named Piqni Patimah, with her topic, The Mistakes Commonly Made in Creative Writing. Fourth, named Ika Maryati, with her topic, Tips for Beginner Proof. And here are the rules of this webinar. First, this is an oral presentation only, so no written materials could be delivered. Therefore, I suggest the participants to take notes. Second, this webinar is a full English form session, so all activities will be delivered in English. Third, all participants must turn off their cameras and audios during the presentation. Please turn off your camera and audio. Fourth, the presentation will be held for about 5 minutes for each presenter. Fifth, all the presenters will present the material in turn. Sixth, Q&A session will come after the whole presentation. Seven, the participants may start asking questions since presentation is started. The questions should be typed in the chat box. 8. Questions will be limited. If you could not get your answer, you may contact us in our email. All right, now we're going to presentation session. For the first presenter, I'd like to invite Ginanjar Masyhur to present his topic. Ginanjar, the time is yours.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ginanjar Masyhur, and I'm here to present my material, which is Straighten Up the Winding Road of Academic Writing. So I'm here to simplify academic writing so you could easily understand academic writing. And a full disclaimer here, I'm not an expert. I'm also a student like you. So there's a lot of things that I still have to study. And I've divided this presentation into 3 parts. So the first one is the entrance, which is the introduction of academic writing. It includes the definition, characteristics, and the benefits. And then the second is the roads and bridges, which includes the process and how to do academic writing. And then the third one is the exit or the outcome. And let's get into it. The first one is the entrance or the introduction to academic writing. So the definition of academic writing. it is not really concrete what is academic writing, but according to Nilek Bak from University of Western Cape, the aim of academic writing is to you, the author, as the member of academic community, develop a better understanding of it. So the key here is to get the better understanding. So you share something to other people, like for example, your research. So you aim to other people so to understand your topic. And then the characteristics is that fact-based arguments, so you remember the claim, the reason, and then the evidence of your essays. And then it is to identify your audience, which is specifically, so you have to understand or expect what are the background knowledge of your audience. And then we move on to the benefits of academic writing. So what are the benefits of all this? So among the benefits, I pick two of most important. The first one is to develop critical thinking. So this is when the process of selecting materials of your essays, and also when you construct the words, so you aim that better understanding of the topic for other people. And then, which is when you want to be a teacher or maybe you want to be a researcher, you have to get used to this kind of strict guidelines of writing. And then we move on to step two, which is the road stages, which is the process and how to do academic writing. The first one is to establish the register or the tone. So what is the register here? Register here essentially mean the language types that we use for certain purposes. In this case, we communicate the knowledge that we have to other people. And to do that, according to Dr. Satsu Meninen from the University, it has to be objective, which is avoid personal opinion. So avoid using I think, we think, or I feel, or etc. And instead use third person perspective, like the authors concluded that, or the researcher said that, or etc. And then we use grammar, standard grammar and spelling. Avoid abbreviation like internet language like LOL or maybe OMG or etc. Avoid bad words like swearing. Avoid contracted forms like can't, doesn't, didn't. Instead use cannot, did not, does not. And then we move on to essay structures. According to Dr. Ellen Turner from Lund University also, there are four major. The first one is general to specific. It's like the flip triangle. And then we move on to chronological order, which is a time period. And then causality, which is like A causes B, or B is the effect of A, etc. And then we move on to comparison and contrast, which is if you want to compare two or more variables in your research, and then you present the conclusion. And then we move on to referencing. So it is essentially you read to the past research, then you use it to support your own paper. And then we move on to structuring an argument. So remember the claim, reason, and then the evidence. So the research question essentially means the things that you want to claim. So the claim that has to be debatable. Debatable means that even though you presented the evidence, that the audience or the reader have to be critical about it. And then we move on to editing, which is when you finish all of your essay, you correct the minor mistakes of your essays, and then we move on to peer review. Peer review is essentially you give your paper into someone who have the same level of knowledge. So in this case, maybe your colleague, maybe your friend, and then get the feedback. The feedback is essentially the comment after reading your essay. And then we move on to the final step, which is revising. After you get all of the feedback, you filter those feedback and then you apply some of it into your essay, so make it more perfect and understandable. And then we move on to the third step, which is the exit or the outcome here. What are the outcome of all of those all of those complex process? You get a great paper, of course, by looking from the guidelines and all of the steps from your lecturer, or maybe from your friends, maybe from the internet. You get the great paper that is easy to read, easy to understand. And then you get the self-reflection. Perhaps you get so many feedback from your friends, but it doesn't mean that you are a bad writer. It's just you have to correct your essays and to be better at it. And then we move on to the improved understanding of the writing. So then after you try to read and then try to write uh, all of your connection, all of your knowledge, and then you connect this connection with other people, you have the better understanding of your own writing. So then you will become the better writing than before. I think that's it from my presentation. Thank you for your attention. I'm sorry for all of my mistakes. Once again, thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Well, thank you very much for your great presentation. So let's move to the next presenter. I'd like to invite Lia Apriliani to present her topic. Lia, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone. Let's move on to the next topic with me, Lia Apriliani. As we know, we often find the difficulties of our writing. Even we good writing, but the difficulties must or often faced by ourselves. So, in this occasion, I will share you some tips to improve our writing skill. The first thing is based on Hayus in Suharni 2016, we have to ask ourselves what is the genre or the form of our writing. And the genre is Weigel. He said that we have to define the audience purpose tone. There are 3 words that must be underlined from that sentence. For the first is the audience, the second is purpose, and the third is tone. What does it mean? The audience. We have to know, who am I writing for? Is it for children? Is it for business people and other? And the second one is the purpose. Why am I writing this? Is it for entertain, for make some money, for business, and any other? And the last thing is the tone. How am I writing this? We can make it sarcastic or funny thing or formal thing. Is it based on your purpose? And the third is it is based on Hughes in Suharni in 2016. We have to get our ideas, organize our ideas, and make it into sentence or paragraph. And we have to know the structure of our writing itself and choose the vocabulary which is appropriate with the genre that have chosen. So we can write our writing in the paper, but please be carefully. And the fourth is conduct GPPS check. What is GPPS check? Lucia Pandit said in her YouTube video, GPPS check is grammar, punctuation, paragraphing, and spelling checking. In your writing, the grammar, the punctuation, and the spelling of your writing must be correct. And the sentence of the paragraph must be coherent, so it is more understandable by the reader. And the last one is self-reflection. Why? Because we have to know what have we done, what should be done, what the mistakes of our writing, and we have to correct it. This activity makes a great impression because it shows dedication and commitment from ourselves to being excellent, especially in the context of writing skill. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Well, thank you very much for your great presentation, Lia. So now let's move to the next presenter. I'd like to invite Piqni Patimah to present her topic. Piqni, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, thanks for staying tuned here. I am Piqni Patimah and my topic is the mistake commonly made in creative writing. If you are the creative writer such as poem, short story, novel, or a fanfiction writer, I think you have made some mistake whether you are released or not in writing. The most common mistake in writing is about missing word, typos, additional punctuation, and spelling mistake. That's all about the typing process, right? From several sources, I got 7-point mistake that commonly made and mostly occur to beginner writer. The first one is not make an outline. According to Wikipedia, outline is the framework that shows the flow of writing to be made. In other words, outline is the key bit of your story before you start your writing. When you not make an outline, your writing will not be directed out from the rule that has been determined and will be burdened by remembering the storyline that previously told. And the other effect, is impressing the writing to be like overlapping and not coherent. So when you want to make a story and you get great idea, don't immediately write the story, but make the outline first. The second one is boring beginning. This mistake will make the reader not interested with the story that you make. The opening should impress the reader. Try to make the opening as compelling and driving as possible. If you begin at the beginning,
Thank you very much for your presentation. So let's move to the next presenter. I'd like to invite Ika Maryati to present her topic. Ika, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
That don't back and don't edit. It means that when you work editing before the story finish, you not finish your writing because your idea lost from your brain. You more focus to your editing, not your writing. So try to separate the writing and editing into two distinct process. The next one is not open to criticism. When you're not open to criticism, you will you can't improve your writing skill because you don't know what your mistakes are, what you should to improve, what you should to fix it. So start to open to criticism. For example, you can ask your friend to review your story before you publish and share it to the public. With that activity, you can know what disadvantages and advantages from your writing, and you can fix it. Usually, as the writer said that surround yourself with positive people. It means that people can support your activity, can support your writing activity, and from that activity you will be better than before. The next point is not set target. When you not set target, you you will feel lazy when working on it, and you will take too long time for resting, and you can't finish your story. So make a target when the story would finish, and you can continue the story and not stuck in the middle. The next point is not enjoy when writing. When you feel heavy and forced when writing, the result will be bad, because and in your writing you just write improvise. So start to relax and enjoy when writing, and write with all your heart. The last one is not started. Abby Wade, as the writer from America, said that a writer who waits for ideal condition under which to work will die without a word on paper. So you don't wait for a good, you don't wait to be great. Just start with her to do small action to product big result. We all have fear, but yeah, we're not sure what we write is good, needed, creative, or judging. But when we start to write, we can lose the fear. That's all from me. Thank you for attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I return to moderator.
Well, thank you very much for your great presentation. So let's move to the next presenter. I'd like to invite Ika Maryati to present her topic. Ika, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Thanks for staying tuned here. And let's move to the next topic about tips for beginner poets with me, Ika. So as you know, in writing there are academic and creative writing. And in creative writing there are so many material that we can learn. And one of them is poetry. I believe that all of you already know what poetry is, but some of you don't know that everyone can create their own poetry, or create or write, I mean. Some of you think that the only poetry expert that can write the poetry, right? So everyone can create poetry. And here some tips for you as a beginner poet to write your own poetry. The first tips is you have to appreciate poetry. You have to appreciate every single poetry that you ever see before. Never say that this poetry is bad, or this poetry is not as good as my comic, or this poetry is not as good as my novel. Don't say that. Or you don't say anything that which shows that you don't appreciate poetry. Try to appreciate poetry and you will create poetry easily. The second tips is reading the poetry. You have to read the poetry as much as you can. You can read the poetry on the book, in your school library, or on the internet, or maybe you can ask your friend who loves create poetry to create for you, or you can poetry everywhere. And you read the poetry, you can find the inspiration to create your own poetry. Tips is rhyming is rhyme of the first thing that you think when you hear the word poetry, right? But not every poetry should have rhyme. Dimitri Rice said on his YouTube video that when you see the poetry with rhyme, doesn't mean that every poetry should have rhyme. You can create the poetry with free verse form and free verse poetry. Free verse poetry or free verse form is the poetry that doesn't have a rhyme scheme or a consistent metrical pattern. The next tips is form is not necessary. As I said before, you can write the free verse, right? So you don't need to think about poetry with the complicated form as a beginner. You just need to write your poetry best what's on your mind. And the next tips is write when you want. You can write the poetry whenever and wherever you want. For example, when you see the umbrella and you get the inspiration and you want to write the poetry, just write it. You can write the poetry about the umbrella. Or on the other example, when you are in the bus and you see the trees on your way, you can and you find the inspiration about trees, you can write the poetry about trees, and you can write it on your notebook or on the piece of paper, and a simple one you can write it on your phone. And the last one is watch videos about poetry. You can find out the videos about poetry in the YouTube or on the other platform. There are lots of videos about poetry. You can watch about the definition of poetry, and then how to write the better poetry, how to avoid the mistake about poetry, or maybe the example of poetry. See that, and after that, I believe that you will find the inspiration for create your own poetry. So that's all. Thanks for your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Well, thank you very much for your great presentation, Ika. So now let's move to the Q&A session. Please, any questions? Please write in chat box. I'll give you time, 2 or 3 minutes. Well, thank you for your questions. So for the first question for Delvitalia from Sintu Maroso University will be answered by Lia Apriliani.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I would like to answer the question by Devitalia. We will know that the goals of our writing is reached by the reader when our writing it is used by reader as well as he need or they need. And then when the reader can appreciate our writing or maybe learn from our writing for their needed or for their for their passion or hobbies and many activities that the reader can do with her life or with his life. I think that is the answer. Thank you.
Thank you for your answer. And for the next question from Aldi, Siliwangi University, will be answered by Ginanjar Masyhur. Please.
Okay, so I will try to answer the question from Aldi from Siliwangi University, which I will repeat the question one more. Regarding about writing a creative work, I agree that avoiding criticism is one of the handicap of being a better author. However, everyone hates criticism. Me too. So how to get along with criticism finally? So first thing that you need to know is that even if you are a pro on writing, or even if you have writing for years, if it is fiction or even academic, you have to know that you still have flaws. You still have that kind of skills that are not really seen by everyone. So what I mean is that everyone makes mistakes. So you have to understand that we are a human. We are still learning about things, even though you are a professor, for example, or even though you are someone that is very smart or very clever, you still have some mistakes. So it is the same in writing. You have to know that your writing is not perfect. So I think that's kind of some common sense and also some self-awareness about your own writing. And yes, you don't have to feel down about that. You have to feel grateful for everyone who criticize you, which means that they are appreciating your work. They are paying attention to your work and they want you to get better. That's why peer review is very useful, because you can get the sense of how the reader would react to your paper, or maybe react to your novel, your poetry, or something else. And you may ask for the opinion by the experts, for example, if you want to get more elevated on the criticism. And once again, you have to have the self-awareness that you make mistakes, but not all the time. And then your writing can also include weaknesses and mistakes, and then you can move on. And you have to filter the feedback that you have. Like I've said before in my presentation, you have to filter all of the feedbacks, not to what is it called? Not to swallow all of them, like every feedback that you have. So you have to filter out which one that you can do or which one that you cannot do, so you can be a better writer, not just for entertaining others, but also to make writing more enjoyable. I think that's all my answer. I hope you can understand and satisfied with that answer. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much for your answer, and thank you very much for your questions. So because the questions is limited, so you may contact us in our email. Now we are going to conclusion. Well, actually, academic writing can develop our critical thinking, and it's very simple as long as we follow the rules of academic writing itself. The tips to improve our writing skill are: first, decide what the genre or form of our writing is. Second, consider with the audience purpose tone. Third, recognizing our writing and art. Fourth, GPPS, checking grammar, punctuation, paragraphing, and spelling. Fifth, and the mistakes commonly made in creative writing. First, not make an outline. Second, boring beginning. Third, the concept not right. Four, editing before the story finish. Fifth, not open the critics. Six, not set as a target. Seven, not enjoy when writing. And the last, never try or not start. And also here are some tips for beginner poets. First, you have to appreciate poetry. Second, learn what poetry is. Third, reading the poetry. Fourth, rhyming is not necessary. Fifth, write when you want. And the last one is watch videos about poetry. Finally, we come to the last session of this webinar series, EDSA 2020. Thank you very much for your great presentation to our presenters. And also thank you very much for your nice participations. Hopefully, the discussion that we shared today would be useful for all of us. Imam Al-Ghazali said that if you are not the son of the king and you are not the son of the great scholar, then be the writer. Thank you very much for your nice attention. Keep healthy and safe. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.